meeting people?
Are you on?
Yeah, thank you.
Donna, pray over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna just, that's right, turn off your phones and
Oh, yeah.
anything else that beeps unless you intend it to beep. And I know we're gonna have more folks come in, and as they do, we'll kind of catch people up. But I'm very, very honored and excited to be here in South County, in Gilroy. I don't know why I didn't hear a woohoo. All right, just want to make sure. I didn't even do it right. But we really are excited to be here, and let's give a round of applause to our hosts and Community Solutions. We're so excited to have them here. Now, I know I was not going to forget Mr. Wasserman. That's so funny. I just want you to know Protima's like, Mike is over here. I was going to get to him next. What I wanted to ask is, Nancy, is it? I know we're not close to quorum yet, so what I'd like to do is do roll call when we get everybody. Is that all right?
Okay. Yeah, we're still short 6, I believe.
Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and start with welcome. And Mike, do you want to go first? Since you're our fearless leader.
I've got some prepared remarks.
Well, let's be prepared then. Let's welcome Supervisor Mike Wasserman, whose district we're in. And somebody who...
In the interest of propriety, should we do a roll call just to know how many we're short of? Or do we know how many?
They just told me we're short 6.
Oh, we're short 6.
Yeah. Mike, go ahead. Well, thank you for being here with us. Supervisor Mike Wasserman, who is the incoming Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors.
Well, you just stole my thunder, President Denise Chavez. So Supervisor Chavez on Tuesday is going to become President Chavez.
Thank you.
Not that she didn't feel she was already in charge. But, you know, there you go. There you go. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Happy New Year, everyone. It's also an honor to have all of you here in South County. South County is in what we call District 1. It's 700 square miles. I have the honor of representing it. It includes Gilroy, San Martin, Morgan Hill, Los Gatos, Montecito, and 250,000 people in San Jose. So I want to thank all of those responsible, including members of the council, for coming to beautiful South County. And if you're going to spend the night and go on the wine trail tomorrow, so be it. Thank you, as was mentioned by Supervisor Chavez, to Community Solutions. Is Erin still here?
Oh, yeah.
There she is, right there. Erin O'Brien, a round of applause, please. A real champion in so many ways of so many things. It's exciting that we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote in August of this year, but it's also a little startling, isn't it? Only 100 years? You could also get into the fact that it's not even 100 years for many. We've learned that our nation is strongest when our laws are applied fairly and people are treated equally. We are now at a point in history when multiple generations of men and women are experiencing women's rights as a matter of course. It's easy to overlook how hard fought these rights are and how far, I say we have come, and I do mean we. Supervisor Chavez will often joke about me as far as being a feminist, and I'm right there with you, Cindy. I really, really am. And my heart is really in this. Educating people about the historic fight for women's rights is crucial, but there is still so much progress to be made. That is why your work is so very important. I'm proud to say that when the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors voted to establish the Women's Equality 2020 Leadership Council, it was the first in the nation. Congratulations and thank you. Our goal is to commemorate and honor women's suffrage and to advance women's equality and women's rights in various ways. Educating people about the historic fight for women's rights is crucial, but there is still so much progress to be made. As a lawmaker and working side by side with soon-to-be President Chavez, I take my charge very seriously to uphold the Constitution and to work with all of you to improve the lives of all people in Santa Clara County. There are 2 big opportunities this year to use your collective muscle. Improve participation in the 2020 census and the 2020 presidential election. With the census, our county is at risk of being undercounted, due in part to fears among our large immigrant population. We need your help to ensure an accurate count which will protect political representation, as well as key funding for essential services, including roads, education, and healthcare. We also need your help increasing voter participation. As an elected official for the last 18 years, it still amazes me that so many people simply don't vote. In 2016, just 61% of the voting age population voted in the US presidential election. That means that 39% of that population sat back and let other people make decisions for them. It says here, don't forget what Plato had to say. But if a lot of you don't know what Plato had to say, it doesn't surprise me. Let me tell you what Plato had to say. Plato said, one of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Pretty interesting, huh? With your help, this can be changed. There are so many opportunities for change right here in our community, and I bet many of you have already got some ideas on how to make that change. Please raise your hands if you're thinking of activities, events, or projects relating to civic engagement or women's suffrage. Anybody? I thought so. Okay, now keep your hands up if you have all the money you need for your activity, event, or project. No.
That was a trick question, right?
That's what I thought. Yes, it was. As part of the commemoration of the upcoming 100th anniversary of the women's suffrage movement, our Office of Women's Policy, OWP, is offering mini grants of $200 to $2,000 for efforts that will promote civic engagement and participatory democracy in honor of the legacy created by the women who advocated for successful passage of the 19th Amendment. These mini grants are intended for community members and groups planning activities, events, and/or projects, promoting democracy as it relates to women's suffrage and the continuing need for women, girls, and female-identified individuals to actively participate, support, and promote their inclusion in a democratic system. Please see Protimus, or other OWP staff for more information. Thank you all for volunteering to serve on this landmark council, and I look forward to seeing all the good work you will do in the coming months. Please don't hesitate to contact my office or my staff if any of us can assist you in your efforts in any way. Good luck. Please enjoy all the speakers today. It's an honor and privilege to be here. Happy New Year, and welcome to South County.
Thank you, Mike. He really is one of my favorite feminists. Thank you, and thanks for joining us. Next, we have Erin O'Brien, who is the CEO of Community Solutions and an amazing leader, not just in South County, but actually countywide, and really honored to get to be here with you today, Erin.
Thanks. It is actually our honor to have all of you here today. So it's my privilege to welcome you. And it was asked to share a little bit about Community Solutions. So Community Solutions was founded 48 years ago and has kind of has grown through mergers and new contracts, always growing to better serve our clients in our communities. And we have perhaps the broadest and I think sometimes the most complex continuum of services in Santa Clara County, and we serve everything from the littlest littles up to older adults, from prevention and early intervention all the way through to the most intensive outpatient, residential, human trafficking, sexual assault, and domestic violence services. Last year, we served over 8,000 people. And
It's amazing.
and 56% of the people that we served are Latinx, 21% Caucasian, and it was fascinating to me. Last year, that exactly matched our staff demographics as well.
Wow.
And 58% of the clients that we serve are female. And while we began as for many, many years, we were a South County serving agency. We now actually serve the majority of our clients, 54% in San Jose and further north. But I always say that while we serve countywide, our heart remains in South County. We feel like we're an integral part of the community. It's a community that matters a lot to us, and a lot of us live down here and have for many years. But as you notice driving down, South County is kind of, separated from the rest of the county, both geographically, distance, and time-wise. And I think it's had an interesting impact on the relationships between the system partners, the providers, and the community. Because in a way, because we were geographically separated, we were certainly incentivized to work together more effectively and more closely. And give you a couple examples of that. In 2014, at the suggestion of the Chief of Police in Morgan Hill and with tremendous county support, we launched the county's first Family Justice Center. And that brought together domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking advocates, legal services so that the clients coming in would have representation in immigration issues and in family court. We would have law enforcement officers from Morgan Hill and Gilroy PD. We had folks from the DA's office, folks from DFCS, and from Victim Witness. And what we created was a one-stop so that survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault could come to one place to get the help that they needed. And it has been, frankly, a phenomenal success. Last year, we served over 475 clients there in a way that was hugely impactful. One of the things I thought that was interesting, though, is over 30% of the clients that we served at the South County Family Justice Center were not from South County. And when we asked why they came because of the staffing and because of the word of mouth of how effective the services at the Family Justice Center were. And I think that that has so much to do with the relationships that get developed in South County between partners, that we work so closely together that it really showed up in the way that we were all able to show up for the survivors. Another example that we had was a sad one, and this was coming on the heels of the shooting at the Gilroy Garlic Festival in July. And within an hour of the shooting, the leadership and crisis response folks at Community Solutions were on the phone with system partners, and some on the phone till after midnight. And by 8 o'clock the next morning, with our fellow CBOs, with the Behavioral Health Department, with the Morgan Hill and Gilroy Unified School District staff, we had brought together and created, at 8 o'clock the next morning, we had the doors open on a community crisis counseling center. And that very first day, we saw over 70 people. And in the first week, we saw over 300. And collectively, we continued to serve the community in partnership with the Gilroy Foundation, who's been amazing through all of this, and meeting with groups and different convenings that we could bring together to help support the community. And that's kind of what South County is about, is how do we work together to help. So I end up being very proud to serve and to live down in South County and to be able to serve the communities here. But I also feel like it would be appropriate today to speak to you just for a minute, kind of looking through a gender lens. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to say to you today, besides welcoming you, I kind of pulled up my notes from I was asked to speak after the last presidential election, January 17, supervisors Chavez and Cortese pulled together a women's convening. Is that
Yeah, a women's
appropriate
hearing.
title?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hearing. And I pulled up some of my comments thinking about kind of where we were then and where we are now. And I spoke a little bit and put out some statistics in that in between. One of the stats I put out is between 2001 and 2012, there were twice as many women killed by a partner or an ex-partner as were killed in that same period in Iraq and Afghanistan. 1 in 5 girls is or will be a victim of childhood sexual abuse. And I put out those stats then, not just maybe folks in the room already have a sense of urgency, but out of concern of what this incoming administration would do and how much worse it could be. And I am very sad to say that I think that my fears have been realized. Because in the interim, under this administration, while the Me Too movement has brought some measure of awareness to gender equality, sexual assault, and sexual misconduct, the current administration's restrictive policies around reproductive rights, rolling back rules designed to close the gender pay gap, absolutely draconian immigration policies, harsh restrictions on SNAP food benefits, an incredible number of judicial appointments that are going to impact us for generations, including the very credibly accused Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, the list of things that are going to impact the lives of women and girls for a very long time is very long. And I say this because I know you guys in the room are aware of all of this. And I say it not to further depress us, but really to frame a huge thank you. Because things feel a little overwhelming, and it is easy to get discouraged, disempowered, and to disengaged. But all of you are in the room. And that says a lot. And that makes me very, very hopeful for the future. So on behalf of Community Solutions, I welcome you, and I thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Erin. And I also just wanted to acknowledge Perla Flores. And the reason is that both under Erin's leadership, we've had so much support from Perla and other women on the staff. And I'm forgetting the other person who's just been critical in all of our hearings from your Erica. And I just want to say thank you, because with their leadership and support, we've gone from funding these issues that affect women at less than $1 million a year to almost $13 million a year. So we're partway there, so thank you for your leadership. That's something to clap about. That's right. Thank you. We're now going to go to our invocation, and that invocation is, we're going to invite up Val Lopez, and Pratima is going to introduce the tribal chairman of the Ama Mutsun tribe. So welcome. Thank you, Pratima.
Thank you very much. It is my honor to welcome Chairman Lopez, who is a tribal elder from the Ama Mutsun Band. And we thought that we would like to kick off the new year, new decade, and the year for the centennial by remembering who it is that had the bravery to let us walk on their lands, and what it is that we need to remember when we're looking for courage and strength in the work that we need to do. So with that, Chairman Lopez.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here. My name again is Valentin Lopez. I do go by Val, and I'm the chairman of the Ama Mutsun Tribal Band. Our tribe are the people that, the indigenous people that, descendants of the indigenous people that have walked on these lands for 10, 12, 14, 15,000 years or more. And if you think of that in terms of generations, that's 800, 900, perhaps 1,000 generations or more. That's how long our people have been here. Our people were then taken to mission, from our tribe, were then taken to Mission San Juan Bautista and Mission Santa Cruz. Gilroy, in our times, was known as Kululistak, the place of the elbow. And it was Kululistak for a very long time, and there's an interesting story that I don't have time to go into today. Our last indigenous leader, a traditional leader, was Ascension Solorzano. And guess what? There is a school named after her here in Gilroy, off of Santa Teresa. And that's a middle school, so we thank Gilroy for honoring our last traditional leader. Our tribe has gone through periods, not through periods, a very long period in our modern history, of being ignored, forgotten, and erased from history. It was very difficult for our people to talk about our culture, our people, to come out and openly into the public. When I was growing up, my grandmothers, my aunts, they would always say, remember, always say you're Mexican, never say you're Indian. That's how they survived that brutal times of genocide. That's how they survived. Today we're coming back. We're letting ourselves be known. We're speaking up. We have a serious issue here in Juristac that I'd like you to be aware of. At the bottom of the Santa Cruz Mountains, where the 101 and the 129 come together, there's a place there that's recognized today as Sergeant Ranch. To us, it's Juristac. It's our most sacred site. And there's an effort to do sand and gravel mining and to turn our most sacred site into a big pit in the ground. We're asking communities to stand with us to oppose the approval of that mining permit and to get involved. It's time for our people to come back. an ancestor, one of the elders going into the mission said, our people will suffer for 7 generations and then things will get better. I'm the 7th generation. It's time for things to get better, and we look to get better with you. It's time. I didn't tell the story of Ascension. Ascension was born in 1855. At age 6, she had a near-death experience. And then during that time, she was recognized by the elders as being a healer or a doctora. Her formal training started at age 11. And it continued for the remainder of her life. She became a very powerful leader. People would come from France, England, for other foreign countries, Argentina, Canada, and across the United States. They would come in to meet with her. Doctors, white doctors from Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco would come on in to bring their patients for her to diagnose and to offer remedies for them. She was a powerful leader. There's a lot written on her. I hope you find out more about her. In our tribe, women have always been the leaders. I'm just a placeholder. I am just a placeholder. Us men, us Mutsun men, we know our place. Women are to lead, we are to follow. Women are the stronger of the 2 sexes. Only they can bring new life into this world, and we respect, love, and appreciate that. I hope you'll stand with us on Eurostar. Please stand now for a quick prayer. Thank you. Creator, we are here. Please hear our prayer. Creator, thank you for the opportunity to meet with these women as they gather to talk about how to make the community better, stronger, how to bring healing to the people here. We admire, we appreciate, we love that. We look for ways to join with them, to become part of that. Creator, our people in our creation story that you told us to, you gave us the responsibility to take care of Mother Earth and all living things. We recognize the most important part of healing Mother Earth is to take care of the sacred. And so we ask that you restore the sacredness to these lands, that you restore prayer and ceremony to all people who walk on these lands. Creator, that we find ways to heal, to find balance in our lives, to restore sacredness to the lands, and to honor those who have walked before us, Creator. We had a difficult path that brought us here. And at times it seems like coming together is difficult. There's issues of trust, issues of history that you don't forget, many issues, but Creator, let us find paths to overcome them. Let our people once again become part of Kulu Listak, where we belong. Ho. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that is a very centering way of starting our evening. Thank you very much. And while I've always felt awkward about clapping for a prayer, I would like to honor our guest by clapping for him. So thank you for being with us. We're now going to public comment, and this is to speak to an item that is not on the agenda today. And Protima, under your item, you are talking about the Women's March. So so if you want to speak on the Women's March, that would be item 7. If there's anybody who would like to speak to an item that is not on the agenda, but within the purview of the committee, seeing none, I'm going to move on. We're going to skip our item 5, and this is our consent calendar because we're still short 1 person, 3. So as they come in, we'll count them down and go back. We are going to now be receiving a report from Rebecca Armendariz, who's going to be talking to us about Gilroy Strong relating to the South County activities. And as you all know, Rebecca's one of our co-chairs, so let's give her a round of applause. And I just will remind all of you that there's a lot of sugar on the counter, so any of you who need a little pick-me-up, go for it. All right, Rebecca, take it away.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. Thank you for being here. Welcome to my hometown. I actually live about 400 steps from here, so I'm really close by.
Wow. Now we know where we're going after. Yay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Give me a chance to clean first. now you can all confidently trust that Gilroy is in Santa Clara County, not San Benito, now that you've made it here, all the way the 30-mile trek from San Jose. In Gilroy, we do pride ourselves, as we have for a long time, on being a warm and welcoming community, a close-knit community that was very proud of its Gilroy Gold, our garlic, for generations. Unfortunately, this year, our celebration of that gold, of our garlic, ended in a tragedy that none of us expected. 3 beautiful young people were taken from us. Kayla Salazar, Stephen Romero, and Trevor Irby. The shock and pain of their deaths rocked all of us to our core. Like too many other communities across this country, we were shocked and in pain. But it also brought us together to help and heal each other, to bond, to raise money, to do what we could to help people from all over, every sector of our community banded together, and people from across the country and across the world looked to Gilroy and shared and lent a hand however they could. Organizations like the Gilroy Foundation, and Donna Prey, if you could come up and help me talk about this, helped form Gilroy Strong, right? Community members, organizations, people who were just moved so much that they needed to do something. We needed to stand up and hold the line together. And so Gilroy Strong was formed. And Donna Prey, the executive director of the Gilroy Foundation, they led the fundraising efforts along with South County Jeep Chrysler Dodge, who did GoFundMe pages for each of the victims who passed away. And it brought thousands of us together, thousands of us who would never have coffee together or, walk downtown together. But thousands of us came together to move Gilroy forward and to help our pain make us stronger, make us Gilroy Strong. So Donna, if you could please tell us about the fundraising efforts and the things that we did. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for having me here. Just a little bit about the Gilroy Foundation. We're just celebrating this month our 40th anniversary. We were started in 1980. And the purpose of the foundation was to take the opportunity for generous people that want to donate to better the community, and we would turn around and give the money back out in the form of grants to other nonprofits, such as Community Solutions is one of our grantees, and many others, and scholarships for graduating high school students. We have assets of over $12.5 million right now, but in the past 40 years, we've given out over $14.8 million in grants and scholarships. We're very proud of that.
Yeah, that's good.
It was a volunteer-run organization until 1995, where they hired one part-time person to work 6 hours a week, and that would be me. And it's changed since then. There are 5 women that are running this organization. We're all part-time, but we do it together as a team, and we get things done. And we've always been a warm and fuzzy kind of organization, doing good things, smiling. Everything was wonderful. And then July 28th happened. And I got a call that night from Silicon Valley Community Foundation up in Mountain View, who we have our money invested with, our endowment. And they first of all wanted to know if we were safe, because we do have a booth at the Garlic Festival, and we had 40 volunteers there in our booth that day. And because we serve alcohol, we do wine coolers and sangria, we have to close an hour earlier. So we had just left the park when the shooting started. And so we were safe. I said, yes, we're safe. Thank you for checking in on all of us. And then I got a phone call back 45 minutes later announcing that their CEO, Nicole Taylor, had decided to start a fund to benefit the victims with a $10,000 donation. So all of a sudden we realized, and she wanted to partner with us. And so I realized that night we had a new job. And the next morning, we had a PayPal button up on our website. Our homepage changed. Everything changed. And we were expecting, Christopher Ranch was the first one that heard about the $10,000 from the Community Foundation because we put it on social media. And we announced that we were going to start this little fund to benefit the victims, both the victims that were taken from us as well as gunshot victims and hardship victims. So we had no idea what was going to happen. I always think of Gilroy, it's just, we always come together. That's what Gilroy's about. So I expected this to happen. But what I didn't expect, that within 24 hours, we had donations from all over the United States. And it just started crazy. Kids and women and families were doing fundraisers. We didn't do any fundraising. We were just the vessel that was going to accept this money. And we thought, my gosh, we're going to get like $100,000. And long story short, we received over $1.8 million. And it's come from all over. And our smallest donation was from a little group of girls that had their own Zumba class. And they brought in a shoebox to me, and they didn't know what was in it. I could hear it jingling, and I said, well, let's open it and count it, you know? And they were about 8 to 10 years old, most of them, and we counted the money, and there was $329.18. So we know in that box was one of the smallest donations we received. The largest donation was an anonymous donation from a Silicon Valley firm. I don't know who it is, but it was $250,000. And everything in between. We had corporations, we had the San Jose Sharks, we had the 49ers, we had the Warriors, so sports teams were getting involved, companies were getting involved. Everyone wanted to give us money, radio stations, and I found myself on the local news, which was kind of a new thing for me. And I started, I felt like I was back in Catholic school for those 12 years because I started wearing a uniform every day because people would show up and they wanted their picture taken of turning over the money to me. Sometimes there was a giant check that we took a picture and we posted it on social media to show how our community is coming around. Lemonade stands were started by children. It was amazing. And then the Gilroy Strong happened when t-shirt companies around town said, we're going to do this. And so that's how all this happened. And there was a banner across downtown Monterey Street, Gilroy Strong. We had vigils. Everyone just came together, and people came from all over the Bay Area and from Southern California. There was a car show, and people drove up their Mustangs from Southern California. And I got to vote on my favorite 3 Mustangs there. And so it's been bizarre, but it's been just heartwarming to see people that understand our pain. And then one of the PayPal all day long, ding, 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 ding on my emails every time we get a donation. We got a PayPal donation, and in the comment section it said, this is from the New Hope congregation in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We lost members of our community in October of 2018. We grieve with you. And they sent us $100. So 2 weeks later, what happened in the United States was Dayton and El Paso, and I went to my board and I said, we got this. Here's an example of paying it forward, and we need to reach out to other communities because unfortunately this is going to happen again, and we need to reach out. So I did the same thing. I followed there, $100 to Dayton, $100 to El Paso, and since then, anytime there is a mass shooting or a domestic terrorism, that's what we do. And so we have given out we have an oversight committee, and we've given out over $1.5 million so far to all the victims. And some of them are hardship victims. Can you imagine having a booth there? Let's say you make jewelry and the shooting happens and the police run, leave. People left without their phones, without their wallets, without identification. Cars were impounded for 10 days. People lost their livelihood. And that we didn't even think about in the beginning. So we had to learn, what are we going to do with this money? How do we get it out? And we we called San Bernardino, who had had a shooting, and asked their advice and this, and then we had compliance people and legal people to talk to. How do we do this? We put up together an application, got it on our website and everything, and then we found out we were not a mass shooting. We were domestic terrorism, so therefore our application that said we will take care of funeral expenses, we will take care of medical expenses, not needed, because the government is taking care of that. The California Compensation, I'm not sure of the exact name. So all of a sudden we didn't have to pay those kind of things. So we didn't know what to do with all this money and the hardship thing. I mean, how do you range hardship? And so we got a phone call from a woman, and she says, are you having trouble deciding what to do with the money and getting it to the victims? And we said, well, yes, who's this, please? She said, my name's Alicia, and I am a mother of a Sandy Hook victim. And then in Las Vegas, my other child was there at the concert and was not injured, but she quit her job, and she said, my goal for the rest of my life is going to help communities that have gone through things like this. So she said, have you ever heard of the name Kenneth Feinberg? And we said, yeah, I think I saw him on 60 Minutes or something. He was the lawyer that started took care of the Victims Fund for 9/11, for Sandy Hook, for the Boston Marathon, for Orlando, Florida, et cetera, et cetera. She said, here's his cell phone number. You call him, he will help you. It was a Friday afternoon. So we called, and he picked up, and we said who we were, and he goes, did Alicia give you this number? Yes, she did. And he goes, okay, I'm going into a meeting, but I'll call you back. It'll probably be about 90 minutes or so. If I miss you tonight, I'll call you in the morning. We kind of, thank you, okay. He called back in 60 minutes, and he told us what to do. He said, don't listen to IRS rulings. When the IRS made their rulings of charitable dollars and how you give it away, they didn't know something like this would ever happen. And so he walked us through it, and he made it so easy for us because we were struggling. And one of our goals now is, part of being Gilroy Strong, is we are going to help the future by we're going to create a handbook on what to do when this happens. And we're going to have it available on our website, and whenever one of these things happen, we're going to be making phone calls. Do you need help? We can help you because we got the best help. And this community coming together has been just, not surprised, but it's been overwhelming with generosity and with hope. And we are Gilroy Strong, and we will heal. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to just see if there are any questions from anybody here. What we will do is make sure that we email out to everybody the link for Gilroy Strong, so both the folks want to get donations, but also to get more information if they can do that. Our staff will work with you. Thank you. Great, that's even easier, gilroyfoundation.org. Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. We're going to move on then to item 7. And item 7 is Pratima's going to give us an update on the event celebration work, and particularly the Women's March. And as Pratima comes forward, I'll let you know that we, I think Dave and I have put a request to our colleagues for Tuesday to make a $5,000 donation to the Women's March. So that's on our Tuesday agenda, Jennifer. So, all right, Pratima, you're on.
No pressure. Thank you. So this was on the agenda in November as well. We at the Office of Women's Policy want to encourage the council to vote today to appear as a council at the Women's March 2020. We all know that we're celebrating, commemorating, and remembering a very important civic engagement development, a watershed moment, if you will, in women's civic engagement. And for us, the presence of the council at the march with the council's banner, with the work that we have done so far, with the work that we intend to do, with the mini grants that we have opened countywide for communities, large and small, individuals as well as groups, to find creative ways to engage in talking about what the 19th Amendment means, talking about what inclusion and expansion on civic engagement means, and by ensuring that we are creating a space when we say we want diversity to be recognized, we are creating a space for diversity by letting people know that you have the opportunity to bring us your wildest dreams, your out of the box, if you will, idea about how will we move and promote the issue of women and civic engagement. For us, one of the things that we're hoping, if the council does approve walking at the march, one of the things that we're hoping is you can recreate what we did on the 26th of August 2019 by remembering the suffrage warriors, really. I want to call them our women warriors. They fought social norms. They cracked open the door for us 100 years ago. Supervisor Wasserman reminded us it wasn't all women who got the right to vote 100 years ago. Women like me are here today because of the bravery of some women 100 years ago who knew that it was worth challenging social norms, right? And so in their honor, we'll continue to wear white as we wore in August. We will have the Office of Women's Policy, if you do vote to appear as a council, will find a spot in the route of the march to table, if you will, with a prominent banner and hand out our fans, our signs, etc. We will have a cheering section at the march, and I want to remind everybody on the council, this is our only opportunity to appear in a public way as a council, because later on this year, our work will be done in a way that we have planted the seeds for another 100 years, right? And so for us, the Women's March would be an appropriate vehicle for us to commemorate, celebrate, and invite the community. And what I do hope is that, so these are some of the technicalities that we're trying to discuss with the council on what we hope to do at the march. But the most important thing is those of us in this room, I have said this before, and I will continue to say this, we are the ambassadors for our county to tell people in our county why this work is important, why we're doing this work, and what we can do to honor those who fought for us 100 years ago and to carry on the work for 100 more years. So with that, I have nothing more to say, but happy to answer any questions if anybody may have questions.
Does anybody have any questions about, yeah, go ahead, Emma. Could you grab the mic, only because we're streaming live, so we make sure we don't leave anybody out.
Tima, hello. Can you please clarify the timing for Saturday?
Thank you. Yes, so we are going to send out the details once we discuss with the Women's March of when to show up if you want to walk, which is around 10:30 or so, or when to show up if we want to be at the part of the march where we'd like to also display our banner. As you know, we have this banner and the banner that we saw in the picture. The banner that we carried on the 26th of August. So we'd like to be able to prominently also make sure that besides walking, there is a place for those who don't want to walk to hand out information. We have, when the Centennial Celebration Group will present their working document, we have a passport that we hope the council will approve, which will print into a booklet form, and there'll be many, many passports that we want to hand out. And as you can see here, we also are going to have a contest sticker for people to sign up on our website to win tickets for our 100th anniversary event. And so if you're doing that part of the march, then it's a different time to show up, but if you're walking, there's a different time, so we'll make sure we have that information out.
Other questions that people have? Jen, did you want, yeah, this is, that'd be great.
I just wanted to let everyone know that we are honored to have Protima as one of the speakers this year at the rally. So she'll be talking about our initiatives.
Shameless plug.
Oh, here. Oh, I don't know. Sandra, what?
We have two other speakers that are on the council as well. Anna and Tamika
Oh, yeah.
are on the
Yeah.
Oh, great. Is there any other background you want to give about the march? Anything we should know?
I think I can talk a little bit about everyone's probably wondering about the X in Women's March this year. It is not a typo. It was intentional, and it was done to be inclusive for non-binary folks, so everybody felt more included. So this year, the title of, we have a theme every year, I don't know if you've noticed, but this year it's Women's March with the X 2020, Our Power Counts, and that includes the census and our power together and the power of voting for all those who can vote. So one kind of off the subject thing is we are looking for women-owned food trucks. If anybody knows anyone, reach out to, yeah, okay, good. Because we need 3 more, if anyone knows. So
That's excellent. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Any comments from our community that are here that folks want to make or ask questions? So what I'm going to recommend is we're still too short of a quorum. So here's what I'm going to recommend. Just by consensus, we don't have to take a vote, but are people excited about walking together and making sure we have a banner and people feel like we can do that? And then one other thing I would just like to ask is that if you have other friends who want to walk with you that day, let's get them together with us. Like, let's just, and so once we get a little more information and strategize a little bit more about the location, we can send out some options for folks about where to meet up, depending on the activity, but also to invite your friends as well. Now, Protima, I think you said this, but do you want everyone to wear a particular color?
Yes, if you
do
can,
want them to wear white?
We want people to wear white
Okay.
to honor the suffragists, and to echo what Supervisor Chavez just said, because we are trying to highlight the fact that 100 years ago, there were a few women who got the right to vote, and all of us today have the right to vote. We'd like to encourage you to bring your friends and your family and to bring an intergenerational group of people.
Yeah, don't leave anyone out.
Because there are people who are the reason we're here today, and there are people who are looking up to us, so we shouldn't be making any mistakes, but, you know.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you please use the mic?
because we're streaming.
Chandra and I brought some flyers, but you can also go to womensmarchsanjose.org and print some more out if you want to do that from home. But we have a few here. If you can help us put them out in Starbucks or whatever in your organizations, we'd appreciate it.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent.
And they'll also be at the door as you leave. If you can leave using that door, please pick up flyers.
Great, good, good, good. Well, thank you. We're going to now move on to agenda item 8, and this is to receive a report from the Office of Women's Policy regarding the Centennial Celebration Work Group. So I think Laura Kim from the Office of Women's Policy and Sharon Busca are going to be our presenters. So let's give them a round of applause as they come to the front, our 2 worker bees. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Chavez. So, hi, my name is Laura Kim, and this is Sharon. And we are so excited to tell you what the work group has been planning. And yes, we've taken a lot of input from the Leadership Council, and now it's go time. It is go time. Yes, it's go time. So, the Centennial Celebration Work Group Report. January, it's here. And today we also brought a one-pager so you could take a glimpse at what 2020 looks like for all of us, including our upcoming WELC meetings. And I just want to point out, after today's meeting, the next WELC meeting is in May. So it looks like we may not be doing much, but the work group has been very, very busy. And the dates that I want to share for you are, of course, the Women's March on January 18th, which Protima just spoke about. And then we're also going to have the We 2020 All-Women Count Census to South County on February 18th. The Eventbrite link is up. We will be sending out an email blast, and you'll be hearing more from Julie Wood about that through the census group, I think. Yes. Yes. And right now, I believe Protoma is passing out copies of the passport. We talked about the passport at a previous meeting, and we had planned to have it out just for March, but we got a lot of feedback from people at our meetings who were asking, why not have it for a year? So the draft that you're seeing today is it will be a self-fulfilled passport where we're asking that you go to as many events as possible throughout the county for 2020 and to submit to us either through email, calling, or social media about all the events you've gone to, track them, and let us know so in October we can curate all the places that you've been to and post on our website to show where Leadership Council, where the community has been supporting Women's Equality 2020 efforts.
Which one do you want me to do? Okay. Something else that's very, very exciting and was something that I had come across when I was doing my research is that Selena Solomons, when she was working for the passage of the right for women to vote in California in 1911, realized that the women who were working on the suffrage movement were not reaching everyone. They were not reaching the women who, for the first time in their lives, did not have to go right from their father's home to their husband's home. And as long as they were working in a womanly job, such as a laundress, such as a sales clerk, such as a cook, then it was perfectly okay. And so Selena said, we need to reach out to these women. And she rented she said it was a very small space in what is now called, what's the main part of San Francisco? In Union Square. So she rented a little loft in Union Square very cheaply. I would love to know what it was. And these women would come to her soup, salad, and suffrage events at lunchtime. And for 5 cents, they would get soup and salad and suffrage information. And it's interesting, 5 cents, because that is what a beer cost in San Francisco was 5 cents. So the men were there drinking their beers, trying to vote down women, and the women were having their soup and salad, and probably something else, to get the right to vote. So one of the things I was talking about and have been talking about is who are our shop girls? Who are the women who are oftentimes unseen? Who are the women who are working so hard to keep their families and themselves together? Think about the grandmas who are watching the grandchildren so their sons or daughters can go to work. Think of the women, who clean our offices, who clean these buildings. Think about the women who are in the factories. How can we reach out to them? And I remember at our last meeting, I heard that the census group was thinking of going to the laundromats. That's brilliant. That's where we're going to find our shop girls. So the Office of Women's Policy has created 3 opportunities to have soup, salad, and suffrage. One in the North County, which is going to be probably in May, and then one in Mid-County, and then one in South County. So we need to have speakers, we need to have places, we need to know who to invite. Who are the women we want to help build this bench? When our time is moving on, who's going to take our place? Supervisor Chavez, who's going to take your place? No one. No one can.
No, we got some great women. I'm totally excited.
But we need to think about who can we invite that probably would never even think they had a place at the table. And this table is theirs. So I'm so excited. And I know we'll hear more about your ideas of where this should be and who should be invited. But just think about this opportunity.
I do want to add one of the great things that stood up in our research was that Selena went out there specifically to engage other women. She realized the movement was a little elitist, and she said, where are all the other women? And that's where the term shop girls came from. And so she specifically went out to open up this women's suffrage movement to all women and planned it in Union Square and made it affordable so they too could be part of something that's going to affect them. And I feel like our leadership council and our work group members do a lot to try to emulate that. Oh, yes. We're so excited to talk about a community collaborative effort. And this idea actually came from our meeting in Palo Alto where someone presented it to Sharon Carla Collins at the time. And yes, her name's Natalie Goolsby. She's not here today. But she presented this great idea for a lantern walk in the local community and had written out the history of New York, New York's parade where they had marched down Fifth Avenue. Women were out after 8 p.m. as a protest because no respectable woman was to be out after hours without a male escort. So there were hordes of women who marched in the dark down Fifth Avenue to protest. And we were fortunate that we had a leadership council member who was able to make an introduction to one of the local museums that were proposed in this proposal. Thank you, Irma. Yeah. And I believe we are now we're 3 or 4 meetings into the planning stage of meeting a lot of the Japantown business associations and community groups because they are poised perfectly with Fifth Avenue, Fifth Street. Yes, with Fifth Street, for us to actually start there, create lanterns, which will also emulate the historical protests that happened in New York, and it's an inclusive event that everyone is welcome to attend. It will actually be a weekday. The date is October 6th. If you are interested or know anyone who might be interested, please write it down. We'll start with lantern making, take a tour around Japantown, and then march down Fifth Street to City Hall and back.
That's so fun. Does that sound awesome?
Yeah.
I think that is so great.
It is really significant that we are also working with Japantown.
Yep.
Because the Japanese Americans, men and women, were one of the last groups to be re-granted citizenship and to actually get the vote. They were able to vote finally in 1953, which isn't that far away. I mean, I remember 1953. But anyway, and what Japantown is going to do is reaching out to women who perhaps voted for the first time. They would be probably in their later 70s. But think about it. How would that be? Where did they go to vote? Was there a polling place in their Japantown? Did they have to go to a place where they were afraid? What was it like walking in as a Japanese American and being recognized that you could vote? Were people celebrating them? Were they criticizing them? I mean, this is such a powerful part of history. And when we were there talking to the Japanese American group, there was a small little preschool that were, skipping down the street. And I just thought, think of that. Think about the significance of what can happen. So Irma, we want to thank you. You made the connection. It was fantastic. And this is how it works. This is how the council works. Natalie had an idea. She was a little shy. She said it to me. I was like, yes. Irma said, I can help. I can make the connection. We met with Mike and Gordon, and they were like, wow, this is great. And this is where it can happen. It can happen because of your ideas. Women should never be afraid of their ideas, except maybe the 80s if you look back at our hairstyles. I don't know what we were thinking with those ideas. But anyway, and also Tracy Edwards is here. She has been a great, strong member, idea person with all that we've been doing. So anyway,
Tracy definitely helped us tighten the Soup, Salad, and Suffrage series.
Which is awesome.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Proxima. So my next item, as we close out, is you might have seen that there was a enter to get VIP treatment at the Centennial Celebration in August. So in order for us to plan the large event, the work would like you to know that we've been talking about ideas. We do have some thoughts in mind, And we've also been gathering names from people who have been attending all the meetings of a possible speaker list. So we're hoping that today that you'll take this home. We have a list of about 58 names to consider. So if you could submit your top 10 to the Office of Women's Policy, that way we can narrow down 8 to 10 possibilities that we can actively pursue to try to lock down a keynote speaker for our event. So I'll start passing that out right now. I've written down that you can call us, email us, and I'll also follow up to everyone who is in attendance here today by emailing out an online survey.
So, but can I just make a point about that? That would actually need to be done, like if you have a minute, do it now. And the reason is that to get speakers, I mean, I think we're already even looking at some that from a list that you gave us, I think when we had our first meeting. But what's the deadline? Is it now or is it Friday or is it Monday? I'm serious because
I was hoping Monday by noon.
By Monday noon? Okay, great. And then also, when will all the calendared events be up on the website?
Everything with the hard date we have put up on the website.
So it's as fun, it's full, it's updated as it can be right now based on what we know.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the ones that have tentative dates that have not been posted.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Did you have other stuff to present before I go to questions?
That May 9th, we also have Youth Voice Live 2020 because I believe our meeting is after the event. So we just want to keep that on everyone's radar because it is part of the centennial celebration.
Okay, great.
And more information will be coming after Monday.
Okay, Ruth? Use the mic.
If we have some ideas for the shop, quote, girls, unquote, can we give them to you? Because some cleaners and domestic workers and home health care workers, I have a lot of contacts. And also with, you were talking about the Japanese Americans. There's also now with all this stuff going on in Iran, there's a women's group of Iranians, Vow for Change, and I can connect you with them. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. I will.
Oh, Laura,
to Protima, yeah.
Yes, Protima, Julie Wood.
And any other ones that you can think of, you know, we have no problem asking. We have no problem opening the door, yes. And as well as speakers, think about who would you be interested in hearing. It would be wonderful to have an intergenerational, sectionality panel up there or speaker. I mean, something for everyone. I think that would be really exciting.
Excellent. Anything else, ladies?
These handouts of the one-page events, the Glimpse of 2020, are available in the back, and they're also on the website. If you have any questions, please feel free to pull any of us aside.
And if you have an organization that is doing something in participatory democracy and would like it on the website, please also send it so that people are going to go there and say, gee, what's happening this week? I've got some free time. Maybe I'll do something 2020-ish.
And may I ask, are we putting up all the mini grant events on the calendar too? Great. Because even if they're not open to the public, like if it's a school event, I think we should know like what's happening. So I know there are a lot of folks here who have events they want to talk about. We're going to go, we have one more item, and then I'm just going to let us go around or two more items, and then we're going to go around the room and let people do invites, because I know you have one, I have one as well. So we're going to be very focused. You're good? Give them a round of applause. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Laura?
I was saying for anything you want posted on the website, we made it easy by having a template of what we need, just like date, time, location, contact. So that's also on we2020.org.
Great.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to put in a plug as an ordinary citizen. I never really knew about the Office of Women's Policy, but these women are dynamic. They are intelligent. They are funny. They are hardworking. They are my sisters.
Yay. All right. Thank you, everyone. We're going to go on to item 9, and this is to receive a report relating to census engagement work group updates. And so is Nick here today? Okay, great, Nick. Come on up. And again, this is just to, as you know, we're going to be this is actually a big core part of our work, and I think everybody's been talking about census, so we'll let it roll.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. It is unfortunately 2020. I think I've been making the same joke over and over again, but man, everyone was so happy and delighted at my New Year's party except for me, because I think we're all scrambling to hopefully, really take action in 2020. This decennial, once in a 10-year head count has become our lives, and I think you've heard from a number of speakers today how important this count will be. So we wanted to update you regarding some important things that we talked about in the November meeting, straight from Supervisor Chavez and her staff. We wanted to also acknowledge that the Census Bureau has been here. You guys were even back here in November, right? But Ann Crowley and the Census Bureau is actually here, and they are here to also answer questions. I wanted to also share some of the materials that they have created in addition to the Santa Clara materials. So, as part of the group that are allowed to have children, we also have a lot of women in the room who are also mothers. We have, unfortunately, very bad precedents of counting children. 0 to 5. Oh, thank you very much. 0 to 5-year-olds specifically. So, want to put a baby on a beautiful photo right there? So, and by the way, folks, all of these posters are actually available outside. If you do have a place of business, a very visible place, or know some folks who have places that we can put these materials, we'd love you to have them out there. Of course, also for children as well, making sure that children are counted. And I know it's also always in limbo because they go, hey, I just had a kid, I'm not thinking about the census. But remember, on April 1st, that is the time to have them being counted if they are born, if they are alive on April 1st, to make sure they are counted, because their childhood, their entire 10 years of their very important development will rely on social funding derived from the census. So make sure that's important. Also, as that first line says, we are recruiting enumerators. We, the U.S. Census Bureau, is recruiting census takers, enumerators. Really great paying job, $30+ an hour, right? Flexible hours. We have some of their flyers here in English and Spanish. And as always, the county has our set of materials leading you to those places so you can register and get a really great part-time job in the meanwhile.
Nick, can I make a request on that?
Yes.
Because any of you who have young people who want to go to work, what I'd like to request is if we could email that out to everybody so we could just email it to our
Absolutely.
folks, would be great.
Sure.
And could folks commit to helping us push that out? Because we do need counters. If we don't have them,
Absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
toast.
Just to give some context, that usually in a good year we get 76% of people counted. If we lost 24% of the people in Santa Clara County, there would be no Santa Clara County. All the funding that we would lose, the political representation we'd lose would be so devastating. We would not be nearly where we need to be. Those census takers are vital for closing the gap from 76% to 99.999%, right? So we really need to have the census counters. Unfortunately, right now, we're less than 50% of what we need for 2020. And it's 2020. So we really need a lot of those folks to step up and become census enumerators. The good thing is those folks are also become our census champions, right? I don't have to go back to the bank and tell them why the census is important. They're like, Nick, I'm working the damn thing, right? So we're really trying to make sure that every eligible person is able to apply as a census enumerator. You do have to be 18 years of age or older, right? And for the most part, you do have to be a U.S. citizen. The reason I say that is they will hire non-citizens, but only in very extreme circumstances. So if you are a U.S. citizen, you are more likely to get that position. But if you aren't a U.S. citizen, still apply. You never know. Given the shortages they have, maybe they'll still need the help. So we will get that out. We actually have a soft copy version of the County Count Me In flyer that has all the details on where to go and how to apply. Just to let you know, we also have some other important events coming up. As you know, the state has taken this on as a priority as well. So Assemblymember Chu has put on a town hall that we'll be at from 1 to 3 on January 11th. Please come by at Summerdale Elementary School. And we also have another Office of Education census party in lieu of helping out younger folks, make sure that they understand that they need to be counted as well, and giving them the responsibility to go home and tell their guardians their family that they need to be counted because they're going to trust them a lot more than they're going to trust me. So please come come to our party at Mexican Heritage Plaza on February 15th. It's going to be a really great opportunity. And then we also, on the next slide here, oh, I guess you're slide 3. Sorry, Julie, we'll get to you in a second. We're asked to create a social media campaign. So we actually have some social media stuff that we can distribute to the group that we've kind of created with a little quick blurb as well. Our vendor, the Press Shop, has also created a set of sample social media posts that we'd love you to take and create and make your own. Not to mention a training that's going to happen probably in late January around how to boost posts, et cetera, if you haven't done that before. So that's going to be mostly through the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, but it will be open also to non-partners as well. So if you are interested in doing census stuff, getting real deep and making a real big difference for your community, these are some of the tools that we can give you, not to mention all of the materials, as always, census flyers and such. So we have these materials out in front. If you want to grab some of those, we'd love you to have them. Please, again, not in your house. These need to be out in front, like lawn signs, so everyone can see them, because we've done a lot of research on census, and everyone goes, census, that's a good idea. What was the census again? I forgot, like 5 minutes later. So we really need to engage people, make sure they understand, right, that census is important and it's coming. Because I know everyone in this room understands why it's important, but it's everyone outside the room that we need to get counted, right? Okay, so just to let you know a little bit about these two pieces of social media, there are 2 ways, and actually I'm hoping we can even do one of them right now, to get involved with census right now. I always say events mean nothing without action. So our action piece for you all tonight is to take the pledge to be counted right now. So if you all get out your cell phones, and if you dial 415-340-7170, actually I think there's a 408 number. We actually have I'll have to get that to you all afterwards, but there's actually a 408 number. Sorry, that's the incorrect number. You can actually take the pledge to take the census, and then we'll actually send reminders along the way, and you just pledge count to that. And we'll, like I said, use that information to hopefully get you engaged. So sorry about that. We'll get that fixed. Or you can go online. I know a lot of you have data on your phones, to our website, scgov.org/census, and you can take the pledge online as well, and that does the same thing. So we'll get that out to you, folks. Sorry about the number. We'll get that corrected as well. And then lastly, wanted to pass it over to Julie Cates, who's part of our work group, or women's subcommittee, to talk about this event we have coming up in February.
Thanks, Nick.
Well, hello, all. So great to be here down in South County. I'm Julie Cates, and I'm with the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters, we have 5 local leagues, to cover the whole county with Palo Alto, Cupertino, Sunnyvale, Los Altos, Mountain View, San Jose, Santa Clara, and Saratoga, Los Gatos area. We cover the whole county through our 5 leagues. And for the 5 leagues, I am the for the League of Women Voters, I am the county representative for the Census Complete Count campaign, and I serve Nick, I'm on the Complete Count Steering Committee. And also I signed up to be part of the Women's Census Outreach Committee. And of course, women, wow, that just seems overwhelming. You know, you're gonna have a committee, you're gonna get a couple of people, and they're gonna reach all women in the county. Well, we are trying to be very strategic, and we are focusing on 3 particular areas, groups of women that are typically undercounted, and that is like, you know, single women, single moms with children, young children, low-wage workers. We were just hearing about, you know, the shopkeepers, shopwomen, you know, whatever, the people working in the grooming salons, the people that are cleaning, you know, our businesses, et cetera, and then also senior women. And senior women that, you know, for whatever reason are a little more removed from, you know, getting access to, you know, local news media, et cetera. And then also geographically, we're focused on the harder to count community areas in Mountain View, Sunnyvale, Eastside, San Jose, and then here in South County. And that's why we're so pleased to be here today. And our committee has decided we really want to have a focus on what's going on in South County and how can we make sure we engage every organization based here. And so that's why we are planning to have a big census convening. It's going to be a great time. And it's going to be Tuesday, February 18th. And we're going to hold it on Gavilan College campus. So we have the information available on the event. We're going to send a link out to all the council members. Now, in terms of the organizations here, one of our Women's Census Outreach Committee members, Lisa Little, who is here, started tracking lists of organizations who are either based in South County or who serve people in South County. This list is up to 86 entries, 86 organizations. We would like, in the next week, help from some of you to make sure that we've got the right contact information to send all these invitations to make sure we have up-to-date email addresses. We're sending it to the people who can really make sure that everyone in their organization know about this event. So with that, I'm going to get back to you, Nick, in terms of, and Julie Wood. Yes.
I want to give a quick plug. You know how we were talking about what happens when we all engage? We had our second meeting for the Wealth Council here in Morgan Hill. Somebody at that council meeting met me and invited me to some conference that happened 2 weeks later. I met somebody from Gavilan College who said, we're happy to host civic engagement activities. Here we are. That's how things happen. I really want to thank this community for welcoming us and for making sure that we have space for everybody, because the county includes South County. So I want to thank this community for helping make that happen.
Okay, great. Well, let me tell you a little bit now. Okay, we're all talking about the census, but what does that mean? What do we want to do? And what we're doing, kicking off, can I just finish and then I'll take some questions? We're kicking off on February 18th this trainer program. It's like a train the trainer to build core of census ambassadors. And we're doing it on Gavilan, Community College campus, because we really want to get students, the college students, engaged. They play such a powerful role in community outreach, not only through other students, student groups on the campus, but also going back to their neighborhoods, to their communities. So this is a great accelerator effect, being able to focus on college students. We also are partnering with First 5 Santa Clara County, because there are a lot of, there's Go Kids in this building that has, and a lot of organizations, Head Start on Christopher Ranch, so that then we can make sure that we get those families with young children engaged. We're working through, the school systems, Gilroy Unified, Morgan Hill Unified, to make sure that we get the right people at the school districts, engaged in the census. So that means that, hopefully you are going to see people with census buttons. Ask me about the census and information in the laundromats, in front of Walmart, in front of the dollar stores, in front of the thrift shops, anywhere where we feel like we can have, better reach, going out. And we'd love to hear, of course, all your ideas. And that's going to be a big part of the February 18th, is just everyone coming up with their ideas, their plans. And again, with our committee and the people who've already been trained so far, and I'm going to make one more plug for the League of Women Voters. We've been doing a series of trainings across our leagues. By the end of this Saturday, we will have 70 league members across the county who have gone through census ambassador training. And so they're ready and they want to help your organizations, increase their presence and talk about the census. So lots going on. This is our time, guys. It's really our time. Our next meeting as a council is what, in May? And hopefully then we're going to be celebrating the huge impact we've had. And we're going to be able to tell the U.S. Census Bureau people, oh, you won't need as many numerators, field workers as you need. Yeah. because we did it ourselves. You know, we got everyone by the end of April to participate voluntarily. That's our goal. So please, we just need all your help, everyone here in this room, you know, to just make it happen, to make sure that everybody goes away with that all women count. Go. Right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to just, questions? Is that okay?
What time is the Gavilan College event? It's going to be a lunchtime event because we want to include students and faculty. We're finalizing the details with Gavilan faculty, but we're aiming for a time frame of 11:30 to 1:30, 2 o'clock.
And the organizations that you mentioned that serve South County, they're invited?
Yes, we're going to be sending out this invite by the end of the week. We want to invite all local organizations, and also we're fine-tuning the last details because we've made a great connection with Gavilan College faculty who work with their students. Student service learning groups, and we want to find the best way to promote this as a way for organizations to recruit students as volunteers. So if there's any organizations here who would like to talk with any of us and let us know how we can best make that happen and best help you work with these students and get them on board, the faculty is really excited that we're bringing this to their campus and helping their students get out into the community.
Excellent. All right, any other questions? I'm going to go to, Beth, I'm going to go to the committee and then I'll come out. And I don't know who had their name. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Anybody else up here? Yeah. You had
Have another one?
Yeah.
Thank you for fixing that. So this event is for organizations so they can learn about it and then recruit people to be at the laundromats and other places. Okay, and then this is an online census, correct?
That's correct.
So when
It is one of the ways, but is the primary way.
So when you have them recruiting people to go to the laundromats and outside shopping centers and discount stores, are you going to have like a tablet where you can help them set it up and answer some questions?
All right, so let's talk about what's happening in the campaign for Count Me In. Part of the campaign is the creation of what are called questionnaire assistance centers, or QACs. Okay, yes, that's the actual name we use. So the state actually has funded a portion of our program to create about 200 different QACs. These will be in county departments, libraries, and other community-based organizations where people can go and fill it out. And the good news is most of us have these things in our hand, and you can actually fill out the census via these things, okay? But we will have those available. We're also going to have a mobile team available in April to help people fill it out. I should also be clear that you can fill out a self-response form all the way through non-response. So even though technically the census self-response period ends in April, you can fill it all the way until the counting is done. So when these people are knocking on your door saying, hey, you didn't fill out the census, you go away, I want to fill out the census right now. You can actually do that and have people complete. So we will still be out in force, knocking on doors, leaving literature, warn the community about these census enumerators, these census takers walking through communities, to trust them, to work with them, to collaborate with them so we get a full count.
Thank you.
There's this way. I'm collecting your posters here for some private groups that I belong to. But are you automatically getting these to our city hall and to our libraries? Because
Yes.
I don't want to have to take extra for them.
That's great. Well, you never know who to talk to. The city's departments are larger than just the individuals that we talk to, but we actually have a specific subcommittee for cities and neighborhoods. So every city actually is represented on that, and not to mention the Census Bureau has been doing outreach individually with the cities as well. So, the Census Bureau and the county are working hand in hand to make sure we have complete coverage. But I'm always one to go more than less. So if you do see organizations, other places that don't have those materials, I can give you my card. We can get you more materials individually if you have those connections to get them in the right place. We just need this to be everywhere.
Question? Is there, can you tell us about outreach to labor, particularly the public sector labor unions?
Absolutely. So we've actually had a few discussions with SEIU and SEMA and some other organizations as well around the importance of the census, and they said, of course the census is important. So luckily we've had a very good relationship with labor to get those folks also involved as well to make sure that their membership understands the importance of the census. We've yet to hold an actual formal meeting with them around some of the steps that we can take to have volunteers canvass, etc. But they're very much involved. They're very much in favor of the census. Luckily, there's very little education needs to go that way. It's really about the training and getting the right stuff to
Nick,
them.
one recommendation I would make, and we can make this connection with you afterwards, is that the unions are all working right now together, and they do a lot of work site organizing.
Right.
And so what I would recommend is that you call both the building and construction trades and the South Bay Labor Council, and we can talk a little bit about how to do that. In fact, it might be worth having Paul go sit with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Ben Field sits on our steering
Oh,
committee.
great. Good,
So
good.
yeah, we talked to him.
Good.
A lot. So yes, thank you.
That makes us happy. All right, anybody else from we'll go to the community now?
Oh, there's one more over
Sorry.
there.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one more here, and then
Sorry.
we'll go out to your
Yeah,
mama.
I was thinking, so we are doing a lot of outreach through the OLSC, and boy, we were doing churches, and there were like 700, at the different masses, and also we go to community groups as well. So we really should include you at every one of those.
Yeah,
I'll
so Betty Young, who's actually the head of
Uh-huh.
OLSC, has is putting census information in a lot of those presentations as well.
She's not, it's Powys, VAR, and the Day Worker Center that are doing
Right.
Betty's giving us little bags, but we run out of them and don't always, we're not able to hand
Yeah,
out.
I think, let me just
Yeah.
make this point.
Oh, please.
I think she's right, and what I would just say is that for anybody who's doing church-based or large institutions, we do need to think a lot about a very quick summary with something that we can hand out. So
Yeah.
I think that's right. And again, Nick, I would just ask you to talk to Ruth after the
Yeah,
meeting.
absolutely, sure.
Now we're going to go to the community, and I'm going to ask folks to be kind of quick because we have one more presentation, and we have a bunch of more events that all of you want to talk about. So go ahead. But Sally, you
The
first.
question that I have, I think, is very important.
Of course,
Okay.
everything you
All
say
right.
is important.
Okay, one of them is, she's talking about us doing the census on tablets or on our phone. Are we also going to have paper?
So paper
ones?
will be made available if you do not fill out the census. After 4 warnings from the Census Bureau, they'll actually mail you one. The paper form will only be in English and bilingual Spanish, however.
Okay, so if I go to somebody's house and they don't have a tablet, how are they going to do it?
You can also call and fill out the census form via phone if you'd like, but otherwise you have to go to their URL. We will be hosting that URL on our own website, so you can know it's a trusted link, and then go and fill it out that way as
But
well.
Nick, I think
Okay,
what,
because that puts me.
just if I could follow up on that point, I think are you asking if you took a paper, like if you filled it out with someone?
If I go to your house,
Yeah,
okay, and I'm going to do your census,
yeah.
but you don't have a tablet and you don't have a phone, but I still want to take down your information,
Uh-huh.
because I want to count you. So am I going to have a paper one like we used to have? That's my question.
Yeah, replacement forms are going to be much more limited this time around. So it's really going to have to be relying on folks to go out to Quacks and fill them out there, or wait until that paper form comes in for you to fill it out.
So how are we, so that'll get me to my next 2 questions, because they kind of tie up. Okay, you talked about going to the major unions, like to the SEIU and SEMA and them. What about the United Farm Workers? Because we have a lot of farm workers that need to be counted, which takes me back to the next one, which is in the rural area here, we have a lot of labor camps. And I'm sure they don't have tablets, and most of them probably don't have a phone. So that is my concern. How are we going to count our people in South County versus, what you have up in the rest of the
part
county?
of the reason we want to have this convening in South County is because the importance of South County and why historically it's been harder to count folks down here. So really to network and make sure that those folks have those materials, they know where to go. Now I should also explain there is a separate process for counting individuals who live in very rural communities or in group quarters. That's actually done in a separate count But it's still part of the Census Bureau, and they still do the same thing, and they do it at the end of March.
Well, then you should also mention that when you come to South County and train people, because we have a lot of people that work out in the farms. You just mentioned Christopher, but there's more than Christopher.
Absolutely, and making sure that those people don't go the opposite direction, they don't hide away from these Census Bureau employees when they come out to count, is the most important thing.
I think there's a question.
Sally is right on, and I wanted to ask if the forms are going to be available in other languages than English?
So the online forms are going to be in 12 non-English languages.
Okay, good. And then my second question is, what are we supposed to do with undocumented people? Because I think you want them counted, but...
I absolutely want them counted.
Yes, but how, what can we tell them to make them feel that it's safe?
Absolutely. And one of my top messages would be the information given to the Census Bureau is absolutely private and protected. Title 13 is a law that protects all information collected by the Census Bureau, cannot be redistributed, given to any other agency, okay? In fact, when the information is released to the public, it is released in block form. These are large swaths of the county, and it doesn't say, this household answered this way, and this household answered that way. It does a general area to protect people's information. And in fact, I'm sure Ann would be able to answer this as well. She would suffer both monetary and penal liability for breaking that confidentiality. So people can trust the census. They can give the information knowing that that information will not be used against them. And Title 13 is a law that cannot be overturned unless both the House and the Senate and the President would sign off on agree on anything to then pass that law to change it, okay? And I say that because it's so important to me as a Japanese American when that information was used to intern us, okay? So Title 13 is the strongest legal protections that we've enjoyed since that time.
Also to add to that, that was also my question, because of the obvious current political and possible war, how are we going to ensure that or get that message out that they're going to be safe? Because a lot of people are even afraid to go to stores or do any shopping, so how are we gonna let them know that yes, because we can tell them when they're at their door, but if they haven't heard a previous campaign or the information hasn't been announced ahead of time, when we go to the door, they're not gonna trust anyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. I never said this job was going to be easy. I think that's why most folks who are going to be learning about the census, hard-to-count communities learning about the census, have to get at least 7 to 8 touches, contacts from us, from providers, trusted messengers. We're talking about their faith-based leaders, community organizations, the county government, whoever they trust, first responders, for instance, and we're trying to get these materials in their hands so that these individuals you're talking to don't hear about it for the first time when you come to their door. They've heard it 5 or 6 times. In fact, they're so sick of hearing about it, they go, I just want to take the damn thing read, okay? So that's where you play. I'm not asking you to change people's mind, all right? For some people, it will be impossible, okay? They're just not going to be counted no matter what we tell them. But for the people who are on the fence, giving them the understanding of why the census is important, because it will pay for the social programs that we need for our children and our families for the next decade. It will give us the representation in a very divided Congress for the next 10 years. That this is my direct line to political representation. Those are the messages we need to take to those communities and understand it's not just about them, it's about their community.
Thank you. Nick's modeling how to do it. Go, Nick.
I've done it a few times.
We're going to take 2 more comments, and then we're going to move to our last 2 items.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. One of it is definitely, I don't mean to beat the dead horse, but with the undocumented, if I could suggest perhaps the fear is real and it's valid, as we've seen the attack that has happened. And so if we could possibly, if you're asking someone to make a decision to possibly be ripped away from their family to be counted so that we can have money for our county, not going to make it up here, but if there's some way that I understand if my child is already in school and this is information that is already available, somehow my fear might be minimized.
Right.
And so I would just encourage if we could do that, that we do that, that we have agencies like GOTUS, that we use the UFW, that we use the person-to-person methodology, and I'm not saying that you're not, I'm sure that you are, but just as a friendly reminder. I also am interested in hearing a little bit those who are incarcerated and how we're counting them, because we've got a boys ranch in Morgan Hill, and I think that children are very strong change agents, and so if your child is incarcerated and you're visiting relative, sister or brother, what have you, significant other, having them say, hey, we just heard about this at the census, and those may be some of our low income, some of our undocumented, and I would just encourage that if we could do that as well.
So just to be clear, incarcerated folks are actually counted in the group quarters count that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
A separate process where they actually go out, Census Bureau employees will go out and they'll actually count individuals in group quarters. That includes sororities, fraternities, places where people are imprisoned or incarcerated, hospitals, those kind of places. So there is a separate process for those folks. I think my biggest concern are for the folks who are recently released, that they will not know about the census, that they need to be counted during that period of time. They've got a lot of other things going on. So we need to inform those individuals that they are important, they deserve to be counted as well.
Yes, and those family members of those who are incarcerated who won't be part of that block.
Absolutely.
And then my last point, and I'm sorry, I'll give this up, is women with small children, all of us know, it can be very overwhelming. You can be educated, be a huge proponent, but if you have all of these children all over you, it can be difficult to get yourself counted and others. So using women who are in these mom circles and using them to kind of help one another and encourage one another, and maybe it's a day at the park where we're doing that, and I will volunteer in Morgan Hill to do that.
And what do the Office of Census can do to support those efforts? We want you to know there is no effort too small for us to help you. So we have pledge cards, we have more infographic type of things to explain things in an easier way. We even have, I don't know if folks know what a Kahoot is. It's actually kind of like a bar game where people can jump on their phones and answer questions about the census. We have prizes, things like tissues, hand sanitizers, lunch boxes, you name it, t-shirts. Please let us know what we can do to help you make this more of a natural effort, because I know it's hard to be like, hey guys, let's talk about the census. Yeah. Right.
Thank you. I'm going to take one last comment, and then we're going to wrap up. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna let them come over and talk to you individually, because we do need to go to the next item.
Sure.
So
one last thing, just to let you know. So that number I was going to give you, it's 408-528-2898. Again,
okay.
408-528-2898.
Thanks, Nick. All right, we're going to move on to item number 10. This is a report on our mini grants, and then these folks will stay and talk to you, so folks have ideas and the like.
Hi, this is just a quick update on the OWP mini grants. Like Supervisor Wasserman said, OWP, Office of Women's Policy, has community and civic engagement mini grants out right now. I just want to report that round 1 had 28 completed applications. That are currently in review, and the expected announcement date is between January 20th to the end of the month, so stay tuned. And on another note, round 2 is open until February 28th, and we have 8 different languages available. So please, please, please check out our website. We have information posted on we2020.org and also on the Office of Women's Policy website. That's all. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Are there any questions about the mini grants? Except, how many of you have applied for them already? No? Oh, we need more. Oh, I didn't see you all. Okay, we have applicants. Make sure these folks all know so they can sign up. All right, so we're going to move on to one last big item, and that is that a lot of you have been doing a lot of work, and we talked a little bit about the Women's March. I'm really excited about that. I want to make sure we push that out. I wanted to go to you were going to, I think Marianne, Dr. Dewan, I wanted to give you a moment just to talk about the work you're doing. And then I know we had a couple of people in the community that wanted to make announcements. So I want to take that time so everybody knows what's going on. I'll go to Marianne and then I'll do mine. Yeah. I see you, Beth. Don't forget.
Just 2 quick things. The Youth Voice Live event that comes out of the one of our work groups is going to be on May 9th, and we'll send out more information after Monday. And then the big news is that we were successful in engaging our community around Silicon Valley Reads. Our theme for Silicon Valley Reads 2020 is Women Making It Happen. And we're very excited. We're going to release our program at siliconvalleyreads.org We have hundreds of events starting in January, and our kickoff event is on Thursday evening, January 23rd, at Dianza in Cupertino. And that night, we're going to have our kickoff event with some of the authors, and we also will be opening the women's art exhibit at the UFRAT, which is also in the same building at Dianza. So I hope to see all of you there.
Great. And then we have another. Marjorie, you want to talk about your event?
Will that be on the Office of Women's Policy?
Yes, we're waiting for the schedule.
The
It'll go up.
formal
Yes.
schedule.
Yes.
Okay, Marjorie?
Thank you. We're hosting our first annual Gender Equity Symposium on April 3rd, which is a Friday, and it'll be from 12 to 4 p.m. And our title is called Striving for Equity, Envisioning Change. And the purpose of the symposium is to convene educators, community members, and leading experts from a range of disciplines to address today's key social issues impacting female-identified individuals. Our host for this event is the Office of Women's Policy, American Association of University Women, the EVC Women and Gender Studies Program, and our Council on the Status of Women. We're identifying some breakout sessions, and we're looking at the cost of gender inequity, transformational work for social justice, leadership, and thriving in the workplace. I was just speaking to Beverly about the symposium, and she said, how about a workshop on women voting? So if you have any ideas, I'll give you my card, and please contact me. I'm working with your office, Cindy, to see your availability and see if...
It sounds awesome. I'm serious. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, that's great.
So we welcome partnership. If the Leadership Council wants to participate in any way, our format is going to be facilitated discussions and an interactive welcome where participants will be able to answer questions and participate in activities. So we need facilitators for that. So if anyone's interested in that, please contact me. Thank you.
Anybody from, yes, did you want to, can you? Oh, I don't know who else did you have yours, Tracy?
I'm just going to take this opportunity to remind you about March 3rd. What's that day?
Election Day.
Election Day. Please get out and vote, and just be aware that we'll be mailing your ballots on February 3rd, so give it up to about a week to get your ballots, but the first week of February. And vote centers, remember you can vote anywhere, any vote center, 110 total of them, beginning February 22nd, so please vote early. Thank you.
And this is not as high-minded as some of these other events, but it will be fun. And that is the League of Women Voters is going to have a celebration of its 100th anniversary and the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, thank you, Cindy, at 70 West Heading on March 29th. We hope you will all come.
All right, I'll let you go next. So Beth is going to pass something out for you. So on January 29th at 5:30, I will be giving a presentation of the state of the county, and it's going to be our opportunity to talk a lot about the work that you've been doing. And so I wanted to invite all the members of the committee who are interested to attend. If you can, wear white. You don't have to, but if you can, wear white, and you'll be sitting on the dais with me as part of that event. So if you are going to be coming, you're going to need to RSVP in advance so that we make sure we have a chair for you up in front. And we're going to be making a couple of announcements relative to the work that you all have already been doing and really highlighting and lifting it up. So I would be really, really honored if you all could join me. And white is optional. I'm deciding between that and a very bright yellow. It's hard choice. All right, so Protima. Oh my goodness! And Shri is going to be our MC. So it's going to be a really fun night. It starts at 5. It's better to get there about 5. We're going to open the doors at about 5 o'clock. We're going to start right on time at 5:30. It'll be a little over under an hour, and then there's gonna be food and music and no dancing, because it's a county, but you can dance if you want to.
Okay, that's hard to top, but on the 21st of March, which is a Saturday, Office of Women's Policy will be hosting its 8th annual Strong Girls, Strong Women Conference. This is our conference to highlight leadership work that we've been doing with high school girls. Our Girls Advisory Team has been working on all issues impacting women, girls, and female-identified individuals, and they have a fabulous lineup of workshops. If you've attended this event before, we have close to 400 registrants, and most of them are high school girls with their adult guardians. I encourage all of you to connect with the Office of Women's Policy so we can push out information, and I hope to see you, and most importantly, high school girls that you engage with and care about. Nicole here, raise your hand. She's a former graduate of our Girls Advisory Team, and today she's serving on this council. That's what we can do, one Nicole at a time. So please help us, please help us. It's on the 21st of March, which is a Saturday.
Hi, my name's Yvonne Martinez Beltran. I'm the councilwoman in Morgan Hill, and I'm so excited to be with all of you. This is so charging. I wanted to just talk about, we will be having some the South County Women's Equality Series, which we started last year. We'll be hosting a series of multicultural events to celebrate and empower women and girls for International Women's Week so that we can celebrate in solidarity all across the globe. So International Women's Week is in March. It'll be from March 8th to the 14th. And anybody and everybody is welcome. These ideas are so exciting, what I've heard tonight. And so I hope that you'll come and charge us and help with that. Last year, the South County Women's Equality Series started with a women's ride and rally. We all dressed up in suffragette attire, marched through downtown Morgan Hill and had a rally. It was amazing. Then we had a story slam, a women's story slam, which was coached by a Moth storytelling coach. So I don't know if anybody's heard of the Moth, and it's gonna be great. So, and hopefully we can all share in that. People can help me get ideas and speakers. That would be awesome. And then we had a mom's hike. We had a civic action panel, which the League of Women Voters helped with this. CADAS helped with this. The Office of Women's Policy helped with this. Cindy Chavez helped with this. We ended with a sunrise yoga and interfaith circle with a Muslim prayer and a Native American prayer to kind of close out. And so we'll be taking up, we had an effort last year, talk about big dreaming, was to have this women's ride and rally on trucks with women in suffragette and kind of riding down Monterey. And we just couldn't get it to kind of pan out, but this year we're feeling a little re-energized. And so hopefully we can make that happen. And we need women to lead these. We need women and organizations to partner. We need funding. So we'll be looking at the mini grants. And you can contact myself or Rebecca and look for our Facebook updates. Thank you.
Yay, that was awesome. Any other events that people want to get excited about? We have one last one, and that is that, how many of you attended any of the women's leadership summits that we've done? So I know a number of you have been panelists. We're going to do, our next one's going to be in March, and then it will annually be in March. So we won't be doing them so often, but because it's Women's History Month, and we're looking at a partnership with a community college. We did it at San Jose State, West Valley, and so this third one will be at a community college. And we will, just so all of you know, one of the big reasons we've had a difficult time kind of landing both on a date is that we wanted to make sure we could provide childcare. And interestingly, even though a lot of people didn't use the childcare, the comfort of knowing they could use it is what got women to sign up and come. And then we had a lot of women use it. So we want to make sure it's something that everybody can attend. It's going to be a little different than the last ones. It's going to be, you're going to be very, very excited, let me just say, as we start to make announcements about it. So, anybody else? We have one more?
I'm sorry, it's not really event specific, but I'm Ann Caroli, and I'm a partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau. We have one need that people could really help us with is enumerator training. We need places to hold the training. We need places that will give it to us without charge. So if you know a community organization, specifically right now I'm looking for a place in Gilroy. I've been calling churches in the area, other nonprofits. So and all over the county this is going to be needed. So it's one way that your group could really, really engage and help in that way and get this accurate count for us.
So what I was just gonna suggest is if you don't move, how many of you can give a location that you could get for free? So don't move, we're gonna walk over to you and get those to you. The last thing I wanted to say is the event that, the women's event is on the 14th of March, so. All right, so we're gonna wrap.
Could I just ask you, how many people would you want that room to accommodate?
I'm sorry. It really depends. Like right now, I have one group that we need about 20 people. It's really going to depend how many days a week and all of that. But if you have something, I've got it down on the list, and then we can call if it will work. Okay? Thank you.
I think the two most important things are free and minimum 20. Okay. And we'll offer the county building too, and you know, that's, yeah, so we're all in. But anyway, if anybody has locations, if you can please go see her, and thank you. Thank you everyone very, very much. I appreciate your time and your attention, and our next meeting is scheduled in May. We may do a mini one before then so that we can get into what those big events are, but we'll work with staff to figure out the appropriate time. Oh, we do? Who's our closing speaker? Oh, Garas! Oh my God, I cannot believe you were, I was so excited when I met you. Get over there. Get up there. Get on up there. Sorry about that.
Cindy, I'm hiding over here.
I am so sorry. There you go. You go. You go, go, go.
All right, I know we had a couple slides, but I don't know.
Let's pull them up.
Okay, that's fine. It's not a problem. It's okay. Don't need them. It's just our logo and stuff, but we're gonna be, we'll hang around if you guys want our information, address, phone number, anything. So, first and foremost, my name is Lucette Diaz. I'm a program coordinator for Garas. And I would like to pay respect to our ancestors that were here before us, honoring the Amamutsu Ohlone brothers and sisters. I would like to thank everyone here today for sharing time and space. I am here today representing myself, my community, and Garas, a grassroots nonprofit here in Gilroy, which serves our underrepresented community. We at Garas are proud to serve one family at a time. We love to advocate for our community and speak up for those who feel cannot be heard. We focus on the uplifting of our families and youth by providing them with resources and guidance, such as Shinatsli, Joven Noble, cultural brokers, and employment referrals. We also do cultural events for the community, such as the Cesar Chavez Breakfast, the annual Tamal Festival, and Chingona Night, to name a few. Because of all the work we do, these are several of our concerns, including the racial disparity within our Gilroy Unified School District, the community, expulsion and suspension rates of our Latino community, the racism and the criminalization of our youth, our families being neglected by not receiving services that are very much needed, and not to say that we are excluded, but like Ms. Armendari says all the time, we are the forgotten children of Santa Clara County. I know we're a bit far away, but we are part of the county. So we in our community, because of the unaddressed racism, harvested a homegrown terrorist. The ones that fell victims to him were of our community and were people of color. For this very reason, we need to be outspoken. We need to be loud and we need to be heard. Somos hociconas. We are disobedient women. I'll recite a poem by a Gilroy resident that I would like for you to all take in today to inspire your inner chingona and keep fighting for your voice and keep that fire alive for our past mujeres, our present ones, and our future generations that will keep that torch burning. The poem is by Rosana Alvarez.
Hey.
All
ironies intended. A poem for those whose existence is resistance. A refined rage reflects, peppered with inappropriate humor. Marinated in a truth beyond me. Mujeres on the microphone. Recycling colonized ideals. Internalized fundamentalist trinkets. Repeating formulas of censorship. Dice que calladita te ves más bonita. Amplifying senseless noise, claiming to give voice. Blurring out the true expense, our non-marketable traits. Discarded as nonsense, tucked into appropriated rebozos. Obligating silence toward protection of our brown brothers. Loyalist essentialist for the nonviolent cause. Romanticized movement, illuminating whitewashed liberation. Examining socializations too, identify complicitness. Easy institutions blamed, never once stopping to see that buildings without people are empty boxes filled with things. Según misunderstandings of my cultura, victimize machista brothers for they not know what they do. Sisters keepers of the fire, salmadoras, offering blessings, shielding, sweeping, clearing, absorbing. That the education of our people we must shoulder because we are the givers of life, with sacred wombs for the offering, nurturing breasts for the taking of a borderline people thriving in the gray, boundaries demarcated for safekeeping. Enter oppressors with facets of me, walls manipulated into meaningless superfluousness. See, we've been here before. With exception, mujeres before us, resisting burial, having screamed, bearing testament, bleeding stories in the permanence of ink, retrofitting memories of this master's house, never intended to be home, uninvented reverse infiltration, intentionally provoking, rhetoric and jargon choking, the life out of living, teaching masters of oppression, facets of success at our expense. So, mija, remember this. Hocicona, eres más chingona. Speak truth to power and resist. Revolution is you in the fullness of your bliss. Thank you for your time, and la lucha sigue.
So, that could not have been a more perfect way to end, but let me just say one thing about Garas. We just met with them, and they are going to be participating in a working group with Valley Transportation Authority looking at transit through the eyes of young women. So, and they were amazing. Like, I think they bowled over the whole room, which is why we said, yes, you want to do what, and what? Okay, okay, okay. Well done. So give them another round of applause. And thank you to Community Solutions. And let's give them a round of applause. What's that? Oh, Rosanna, stand up, the poet. Rosanna. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you get to know someone here you didn't know before you came. Thanks, everyone.
Are you doing that language? The, yeah. Okay.